Welcome back, Queens. Today we're diving into the worlds of Mia Thermopolis and Regina George, two women who couldn't be more different, yet both hold a kind of power that shapes the people around them. One leads with kindness, the other with control. But what really makes them so influential? And more importantly, what can we actually learn from them? There are two types of women you'll meet in life. The ones who quietly blend into the background and the ones who own every room they step into. And if you've ever watched the Princess Diaries or Mean Girls, you already know exactly what this looks like. Mia Thermopolis, the awkward, invisible girl from the Princess Diaries, who suddenly finds out she's the heir to a whole kingdom. Overnight, she's thrown into a world of royalty, elegance, and expectations, all while still feeling like the invisible girl nobody noticed. And Regina George, the queen bee of Mean Girls, who ruled her school with confidence, control, and just the right amount of fear. She doesn't just exist, she dominates. Every hallway, every conversation, every social circle, Regina is the kind of girl who knows exactly who she is, and makes sure everyone else does too. At first glance, it seems obvious who the powerful one is. But the truth is, both women built their influence in completely different ways. One used kindness, the other used control. And most women fall somewhere in between. So the real question is, who do you relate to more? You know that feeling when you're in a group and you hesitate to speak because you're scared of saying the wrong thing? That was Mia. She made herself small, hoping no one would notice her. And for a long time, it worked. Until suddenly, she wasn't invisible anymore. People started paying attention to her, not because of who she was, but because of what she had. A title, power, status. And what's interesting, she didn't even want it. Now think about the girl who always has something to say. The one who doesn't shrink back because she knows people will listen. That's Regina. She didn't just accept attention, she expected it. She walked into a room like it belonged to her. And in a way, it did. People didn't just admire her, they feared her. Because Regina understood something Mia didn't. That confidence can control people. And if you've ever been around someone like that, you know what I mean. The girl who makes you question yourself even when you've done nothing wrong. The girl whose approval feels like a reward, but whose rejection feels like punishment. Because there's a difference between confidence and power. Real power? It isn't just about making people look at you. It's about making them listen. But the way you use that power changes everything. Mia never asked for power. She didn't wake up one day and decide she wanted to be seen. She spent her whole life believing that blending in was safer. That if no one noticed her, no one could judge her. And maybe you felt that too. Like, if you just stay quiet, you won't give anyone a reason to dislike you. But the problem with making yourself small is that eventually you start believing you are. Regina never had that problem. She didn't wait for permission to take up space. She didn't ask if she was worthy of attention. She decided she was. And because she believed it, everyone else did too. But confidence built on control? It's not real confidence. It's power that depends on keeping other people below you. Like the burn book. Regina didn't just control people by being the most popular girl. She controlled them by making them afraid. Afraid of being talked about. Afraid of being on the outside. And that's why, when everything fell apart, it fell apart fast. Because the second people stopped fearing Regina, she lost everything. The power, the influence, the control. Gone. Meanwhile, Mia was learning something completely different. She thought being a princess meant she had to become someone else. Graceful, confident, perfect. But when she read that letter from her dad, she realized she didn't have to change who she was. She just had to stop being afraid of it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. And for the first time, Mia stopped trying to disappear. She stopped apologizing for taking up space. Not because she had a title, but because she finally saw herself as worthy. That's the difference. Regina's power came from making people feel small. Mia's came from realizing she didn't have to be. Real confidence doesn't make others feel weak. It makes them feel safe. And that's the kind of power no one can take away from you. At the end of the day, the real question isn't whether you're more like Mia or Regina. It's about how you choose to carry yourself. Do you shrink yourself out of fear? Or do you take up space because you know you deserve to? Do you build your confidence by lifting others up? Or do you rely on control, hoping it'll make you feel untouchable? Because here's the truth. Power that comes from fear will always be temporary. The moment people stop being afraid, it disappears. But confidence that comes from within, that stays. No one can take it from you. Mia didn't become powerful because she was royalty. She became powerful when she stopped running from herself. And Regina? She thought power was about being feared, until she lost everything. So the real lesson isn't about being more like one or less like the other. It's about learning to own your presence without tearing anyone else down. Because real confidence isn't about proving you're above everyone else. It's about knowing you don't have to be. And once you realize that, you won't need a crown to feel like a queen. So, at the end of the day, what kind of power do you want? Do you want people to follow you out of fear? Or because they respect you? Because confidence isn't just about taking up space. It's about knowing why you deserve to be there. And queens, let me know in the comments. Do you relate more to Mia or Regina? Or maybe a little bit of both? That's it for today's video. Bye, queens. See you in the next video.